Outside in an AMG, right outside. TT, turn baby girl, you know me.
Okay, Trent.
Still with the girls that they inside.
Okay, Trent.
Gotta watch the time, 'cause it's flying like cloud. I'm outside.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. As you guys can see, we have Nightwing here in the background, and today's video, you guys can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we have another mod for this car. So if you guys did watch my Camaro update video, I did mention I wanted to do a couple things to this car. So today's video is going to be one, and I actually have the next video planned out. The part is already here, so you guys make sure to stay tuned for that one. So in today's video, we're actually going to be changing this out, which is our K&N intake that I did mention is still a secondhand intake, and we are replacing this with a secondhand intake, but it is going to be better. So we're actually going to be replacing this with, you guys can see it right there, a good old Rotofab intake. So for those of you that know the LS3 platform, you guys know Rotofab is one of the top intakes that you can get for these cars. Literally after I made that Camaro update video, just so happened to go in the Camaro groups and somebody was selling this. So made me a great deal on it, went ahead and paid for it. He shipped it out and now we have it. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and start disassembling this one so we can put that one on the car. So first, to start disassembling this, we are going to have to disconnect our mass airflow sensor. Do not make the mistake of leaving this plugged in, or else you will probably have some great problems that you do not want to deal with. So once that's unplugged, we can come over here and we're gonna have our 8mm here. This connects our intake to the throttle body, and we're also going to have another 8mm here, so that way this whole tube can disconnect. So other than that, we have to disconnect our PCV hose, that's pretty straightforward. So yeah, let's get into it. Now we have our PCV disconnected here, got our two clamps loose, got our mass airflow disconnected. So essentially this should just pull off. As you can see, it got the throttle body off already, and got my other end off now. So now we have this disconnected, we can move on to this section right here. Only thing it is you have this one 10mm, and in typical fashion, mine is missing. So I'm probably gonna see if I can get a wrench on that nut right there, so that way I can go ahead and remove that nut and this should pull right up. All right, you guys, so you guys can see we're pretty empty up here now. Got my other half to my intake sitting right here. So this intake will be for sale, guys, if it hasn't sold before I upload this video. Before you discard of your tubing right here, you do have to transfer your mass airflow sensor to the new tube over there, or new to you, however you want to call it. So as you can see, I have two Phillips screws here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these out, transfer it to my new intake, and we'll be ready to install that one to the car. I went ahead and halfway cleaned up this area right here, being that don't really get to wash it right there. So now I just need to take my little pin right there, make sure it's inserted into that grommet. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. Actually, let's see. I think I'm going to actually...
A few moments later.
So, I gotta be honest with you guys. I did this a couple times. One, I figured out that since this housing is such a tight fit, it actually has a slot for your, this is your AC line right here. It actually has a slot so that way you don't crush your AC line and it doesn't rub. 2, I did not realize for this one, the mass airflow sensor port is actually on here and not the tube. So had to take this out, put it back in a couple times, and now it's in. So now we can go ahead and put our last section on along with our intake filter, and that'll be the end of this install. As you guys can see, got the tubing here installed nice and tight. One thing to note, if you're switching from a K&N, the Rotofab actually moves this hose to right here. So I'm actually gonna measure this to length and cut it, and it actually gets rid of a decent amount. So if you guys remember before, this hose is actually running across the top of my throttle body. Now, with the way it's set up now, going to be able to run it under the throttle body for a much cleaner look. This filter, you guys can tell, not exactly the cleanest, but for the sake of this video, we're going to fire the car up as is. Got my hose connected here under the throttle body. It's actually a pretty snug fit, so just make sure it's not rubbing. I might be rubbing just a hair some areas, but then again, it doesn't feel like it. So I think I'll actually be good. Got our filter on. This is tight. Mass airflow is inserted in the correct direction. You want to make sure it's in the flow of air, or else the car will not start. Don't think we can get a test drive tonight. In typical Houston fashion, and as I'm saying this, I'm actually seeing we don't have any water yet, but it is about to rain. So, and it actually just started raining. So definitely cannot take this thing out tonight to see how it does, but I'm actually interested to see how this thing responds to this, because of the fact that this intake tube right here is definitely it might be the same size, but it looks a slight bit bigger than our K&N one. So with that being said, this car is definitely probably gonna need a retune. It's already a little bit lean because I did open up the exhaust to full 3-inch, and now I got the intake. So with that being said, I can at least get you guys a cold start to see how it responds to this intake. Share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.